Welcome back, listeners, to another captivating journey into the intricate labyrinth of relationships, here on Red Hunt, where I, your guide named Red, uncover the hidden tales that unravel the essence of love, heartbreak, and everything in between. So grab a cup of tea, sit back, and prepare to be enthralled, because today's adventure begins now. I'm dating a guy who still lives with his ex, and got the "I'm coming to you as a woman" text. My boyfriend and I met in June at a photo shoot where his dog and snakes were used as props. He attended the shoot with his then-girlfriend, who we'll call Nicole. I complimented them on their well-behaved animals, and we all followed each other on Instagram. A week or two later, I messaged Nicole to inquire about a pet spider, as they were both exotic animal breeders. She said Trevor would send me a link, which he did. In September, Trevor began reacting more to my social media, and we started having more conversations. Around this time, he removed Nicole's name from his bio and deleted their pictures together. Nicole blocked me at this point. Trevor eventually asked me on a date, which went well. We discovered we had a lot in common, and he was caring and understanding. We introduced our dogs after a few dates and decided to see where the relationship could go. However, Trevor then revealed that he still lives with Nicole and they share a car. He was open about the situation and assured me there was nothing to worry about. Nicole requested to follow me on social media, and I showed Trevor, asking if I should be concerned. She blocked me again after this, and Trevor promised to talk to her and ask her to leave me alone. 3 weeks ago, I went to Brazil to visit family, but Trevor and I talked constantly. We were excited to see each other, and things started getting flirtatious in our messages. When I returned from my trip, we hung out and had sex the same day. The next morning, Nicole messaged me, claiming Trevor had been lying to both of us. We agreed to meet up and discuss the situation. During our meeting, Nicole seemed sincere, showing signs of nervousness. She revealed Trevor had lied about ending their relationship and that they had been trying to work things out. She mentioned he told her that I was just a friend and that our outings were part of a larger group. She also shared that she pays most of their bills, they still display affection towards each other, and are sexually intimate. Nicole pleaded with me not to inform Trevor about our conversation, fearing for her safety. She said she knew we had sex because when he returned home that night, he rejected her advances. I immediately ended things with Trevor, who seemed genuinely disappointed. He has been sending me paragraphs attempting to change my mind and accusing me of withholding information. Nicole had warned me not to say anything for her safety. I eventually confessed to Trevor that someone had shared concerning information about him. He is now trying hard to prove that he wants nothing to do with his ex, even sending videos of Nicole admitting their breakup. However, I'm extremely confused and unsure of who to believe. Should I be honest with Trevor and tell him it was Nicole who informed me? Would it even matter since they still live together? He is making a strong effort to convince me he doesn't want her, but I am torn. Wow, that's a complicated situation you're in. It sounds like Trevor and Nicole have been hiding some serious stuff from each other and you, and it's hard to determine who is telling the truth. It's probably a good idea to be honest with Trevor and tell him what Nicole said, but ultimately, you have to trust your gut and decide if you want to be involved in that messy situation. It's understandable that you're torn, but take some time to think about what you want and what will make you happiest in the long run. Am I the antagonist for crying in front of a customer? I am a 17-year-old male, and I work at a convenience store as part of my high school program, which means I work 2 days every other week. The store is quite large, and since I'm not from this town, I'm not familiar with it. Additionally, the items are always moved around each week. Today, while I was unloading teas and coffee, a man approached me. He seemed really irritated, so I prepared myself for a potentially rude customer. He inquired about rice porridge, stating that he had been walking around all day and couldn't find it, which is unlikely, considering we had only been open for an hour. Since I don't work in that section, I apologized and informed him that I did not know. Usually, customers are understanding and either ask someone else or try to find the item themselves. However, this guy was different. He started berating me, insisting that I should know because I work here and that I should go with him to help him find it. Unfortunately, I couldn't leave my post, so I explained this to him and also mentioned that I'm not even from this town, so I only know where items from my section are. However, he completely disregarded my explanation. Now comes the part where I could have done better. I am a sensitive person, and I was already trying not to cry as I stood there while he insulted me to my face. Suddenly, he began questioning why I chose to work here if I couldn't even help people, and he commented on my appearance, saying that I looked weak, short, and scrawny for someone my age. I admit I am not very strong. And my height is 165 cm. I replied that I had no other choice in choosing schools, but he responded with everyone has a choice. However, this is not true in my case. I had to drop out of my previous high school and switch because of mental health issues. Eventually, he gave up, called me useless, and started browsing the tea shelves. I turned away from him and tried my best not to cry. One of my classmates, whom we'll call Liam, walked by, and I guess he noticed how upset I was because he asked if I was okay. The rude man chimed in, saying, "No, he's an asshole and completely useless. He doesn't even know where rice is." That was the breaking point for me, and I started crying. Liam confronted the man and asked him why he thought it was acceptable to call a kid names like that. The customer just scoffed and commented that I cry like a girl. Liam then took me to the break room and informed our teacher about what had happened. She allowed him to stay with me until I calmed down and then sent me home. Liam and the rest of my classmates have been supportive, but my teacher mentioned that I should have tried harder to assist the man and that I should have held back my tears because crying in front of a customer is considered rude. Honestly, I'm not sure if she's right or not. Am I the inconsiderate one in this situation? It's completely unfair for the customer to berate you like that. You were honest about not knowing where the rice porridge was, and it's not your fault that you can't leave your post. Crying in front of a customer may not be ideal, but it's a natural response to being insulted like that. Your teacher should be more understanding and supportive. Am I the antagonist for making my birth mother's children cry? I am a 29-year-old woman who was adopted as an infant. Growing up, I had a wonderful and loving family with amazing parents, 2 brothers and a sister. 3 of us were adopted, while 1 was biologically related. 4 years ago, my birth mother reached out to me for the first time. She simply wanted to let me know she was alive and open to answering any questions I might have. She made it clear that she was interested in having a relationship, but understood if I wasn't. I expressed my uncertainty but suggested we could communicate through writing. We did this for about 2 years, during which I learned more about her life. She spoke about her marriage and children, who were aware of my existence. We had an okay relationship, but I made it clear that I didn't really see myself as her daughter or her children's sister, to which she was understanding. I met them for the first time last year and it went fine, although her kids, who were 13 and 12 at the time, were really excited and had a lot of questions. My birth mother had to ask them to calm down because it became overwhelming. She visited me a couple of times without her family, which was easier, although it was still awkward because I didn't view her as a mother figure. However, she was a nice person, so we were still trying to figure things out. During these visits, she provided me with important health information. A few months after her last solo visit, my birth mother and her family stopped by for a brief visit. 2 of my siblings were staying with me at the time, so they also met my birth mother and her family. It seemed to go well. However, they visited again shortly before Christmas and stayed in a hotel. On the second day of their visit, her children showed up at my door without their parents, asking why my social media profile picture featured a photo of me and my siblings instead of one with all 3 of us. It was late at night, so I called their mom, who apologized and assured me they would be right over. The kids asked me again, and I found the question strange given the circumstances. They said something about being my real siblings and didn't understand why I didn't prioritize spending more time with them or have them as my profile picture. They believed I should be their big sister and spend time with them instead of others. This is where things took a bad turn. I told them that my siblings, who are my family, were the ones I spent time with, and that wouldn't change simply because they are my birth mother's children. Both kids became upset and started crying, with the eldest crying the most. When my birth mother arrived, she apologized for their behavior. It was my birth mother's husband who wasn't happy with how things unfolded. A couple of weeks ago, he reached out to me separately from my birth mother and suggested I could have handled the situation better. He appreciated his children's desire to get to know me and suggested I should embrace our biological connection instead of rejecting teenagers. So, am I the asshole? It's understandable that you have a different perspective on the relationship compared to your birth mother's children. It's your decision how you want to define and prioritize your family. While it's nice that they want to get to know you, their entitlement and expectation that you should prioritize them over your existing siblings is unfair. Am I the antagonist for getting upset about my partner inviting people to our ski trip without asking me? I've always wanted to learn to ski, but I didn't have the opportunity to participate in sports clubs or similar activities during my childhood. So it's a big deal for me mentally to commit to learning a new skill like skiing. My partner, who has been skiing for most of her life, agreed to take me to a mountain near her hometown to teach me. She mentioned that the mountain has some great slopes for beginners and I was getting really excited about it. However, my excitement faded when she told me that she invited her friend and her friend's partner without asking me beforehand. She just assumed it wouldn't be a problem. From my point of view, there is a problem. Whenever I've hung out with my partner's friend before, she hasn't made any effort to communicate with me. I don't speak their native language, and despite being fluent in English, she refuses to speak it. When she stayed with us for a few days, she hardly spoke to me. I tried engaging her in conversation, but my attempts were unsuccessful and left me feeling uncomfortable. It's already difficult to converse with a stranger, and I would have to interrupt the conversation between my partner and her friend in their native language, which is quite unpleasant. I've talked to my partner about this in the past, telling her that she needs to involve me more in their conversations. However, she excuses her friend's behavior by saying she's shy or that she doesn't like speaking English. I believe it's my partner's responsibility to facilitate communication between her friend and me, but she seems to think otherwise, claiming she doesn't know how to do it. I considered it a cop-out and expressed that, although I'm okay with not hanging out with them together anymore because of how uncomfortable I feel, I still wanted to learn to ski with my partner. But now, I'm worried that my partner will get distracted by her friends during the ski trip, leaving me feeling alienated once again. Combined with my general anxiety about learning something new, this has made me lose interest in the trip, which is a shame because I was really looking forward to it. Last night I confronted my partner about the issue, explaining that my apprehension stems from my past experiences with her friend. She responded by saying that it's normal to invite friends on a skiing trip, and that she didn't think it would be a problem. I told her that her friend's behavior has made me doubt her commitment to teach me skiing. She became emotional and said she felt bad, but the conversation didn't lead to any solutions. This morning I brought up the issue again, and she responded by asking what I expected her to do, suggesting that uninviting her friends would be embarrassing, and even went as far as calling me pathetic for putting her in this position. Now, I'm uncertain if I'm being fair or unreasonable in this situation, which is why I wanted to get your perspective. Am I the one in the wrong here? Your partner's lack of consideration for your feelings and discomfort with her friend's behavior is a valid concern. It's important for your partner to prioritize your happiness and make an effort to include you in conversations, especially if you're already feeling anxious about learning to ski. It's not unreasonable to expect her to address these issues and find a solution that works for both of you. My best friend made a comment that has me rethinking my life. Am I being stupid? I feel like I know what the answer is to this, but it's driving me up a wall, so I cannot stress enough how much I appreciate it if you take time to read this. I have a best friend of nearly a decade. Her and we've been kind of inseparable since we met. We hit it off immediately. It's just one of those things where you have chemistry and everything feels natural. We've gone through our ups and downs, but even the downs I look positively on because I think we learned and grew from them. We've been through a lot, and I am extremely grateful. Our friendship is a bit unique. We have expressed feelings in the past, and we often flirt a lot. But admittedly, it's kind of just our way of vibing. It's fun and innocent, and it's our little secret when we do it because everyone thinks we're together, but we aren't by any means, and we never display it in front of others. We were at the bars last weekend. I'm not a big drinker, but I had a few drinks early and planned to sober up later into the night, so I could still drive, as I always drive her. I was feeling pretty good waiting at the bar for my next drink, and she came up to me, and she said, "You should slow down since you're a lightweight," and she said it as a joke. And I told her, "Make me," and she said, and I cannot make this up, "What, a dad?" And I looked at her dead in the eyes and said, "Don't play with me like that," and she winked, and ran back to the girls in our friend group. Now typically I would not read into that. However, she has never said anything like that before. It keeps playing in my head over and over too. The rest of the night went well, and she actually went home with one of the girls because she was throwing up. I know it sounds irrational, but I'm not gonna lie, I'd get her pregnant if she told me to. When she said it, it definitely felt like a million bad decisions running in my head. But if I'm being honest, I know I've been secretly in love with this woman for at least the last calendar year. I think she is the most beautiful person inside and out. I can't date anyone because I don't want to sacrifice my relationship with her. I haven't said that, but I definitely feel that way. I'm at a point where I'm working full-time, making well over 6 figures 2 years in, with zero debt. She is a nurse and doing well for herself too. For our area, we would pull in more than enough to support a kid, especially since the position I'm working towards for the next couple years is a nice raise as well. So even being a stay-at-home parent would be in play. Most of all though, I think we'd make a great foundation and partnership for a family. Even when we've had our issues, we've communicated that it's just a rough patch and we'd work through it, and we always have. Neither one of us is abusive. Hell, I've never raised my voice to her. And finally, we've talked about just being together after a certain point. She has asked me, would you marry me if we were still single at 30? And I told her absolutely. I don't know if I got way into my head about this, and baby fever or something is hitting me, but I would get her pregnant tonight if she told me to, and I feel like that's crazy, but it's not to me. Am I actually insane? It sounds like you have a really strong and unique connection with your friend, and the comment she made definitely caught you off guard. It's natural to have these thoughts and feelings, especially if you've been secretly in love with her for a while. Maybe it's worth having a serious conversation with her to see if there's something more there. Good luck. Am I the antagonist for telling my girlfriend to get a life? My boyfriend, 27, and I have been together for a year now. Let's call my girlfriend Beth, 27, for clarity. When we first met, Beth was very independent, working as a bartender, having her own group of friends and pursuing her own hobbies. However, she was also going through a toxic phase and disliked her job. Thankfully, she managed to remove herself from that toxic situation and find a better job. From the beginning of our relationship, clinginess has been an issue. Beth only worked on weekends while I had a 9-to-5 work-from-home job. This meant that she was around me all day, every day, except for the hours she worked on weekends. To make matters worse, Beth would often be a disruptive presence at home. She rarely left my room, sometimes not even leaving to go to the bathroom. When she did leave, she would interrupt me while I was working, showing me memes or trying to strike up conversations. I had to explain to her multiple times that even though I worked from home, my job required focus, and our time together wasn't an opportunity for me to just play on my computer. However, I wasn't angry because I understood she was trying to escape from the negative elements in her life. Over time, we had productive conversations, and she made better friends. She even switched to a day job that she loved, which gave us some space. Unfortunately, things took a turn for the worse after the Christmas break. Beth decided to take an indefinite break and has been with me 24/7. She rarely returns to her own apartment, doesn't hang out with her friends, and disregards her hobbies. I've expressed my concern about her mental health and offered to connect her with my former therapist, but she insists that she's fine and just enjoys being idle. I've suggested that she spend time with her friends or engage in her hobbies, but she shows no interest. I brought up the importance of having our own lives while prioritizing our relationship, to which she agreed verbally, but made no effort to change her behavior. Yesterday, tensions reached a breaking point when she continuously tried to show me memes while I was working. I snapped and told her to stop bothering me, which made her very angry. She thought it was ridiculous for me to get upset over her attempt to spend time with me, while I found it absurd for a grown woman to shove memes in her boyfriend's face all day. I told her she needed to find a life of her own and stop being so reliant on me. I could tell that my words deeply hurt her. I apologized, but I couldn't console her properly because I was about to join a meeting. She ended up going back to her apartment, and she hasn't responded to my calls or texts. I believe my anger stemmed from a valid place, but I regret snapping at her, especially considering that sharing memes is a part of our relationship dynamic. Everything escalated so quickly, and now I'm unsure if I acted like an asshole. It seems like you've been trying to communicate your needs and concerns to your girlfriend, but she hasn't been receptive or willing to make any changes. Your frustration is understandable, especially when you're trying to work and she's consistently interrupting you. However, it's important to apologize for snapping and reassure her that your anger came from a place of frustration rather than malice. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.